What's going on, everybody? Timothy Wills here with TW Entertainment, and I was just trying to. I tried to upload a stream last night, but it just wasn't working. Because it got copyrighted material on it. They want YouTube ain't fooling with that. It's on Twitch though, but I put up a fight. With Batman, Superman. I watched a few fights of theirs. One of my favorite fights. I hadn't seen that many Batman versus Superman fights, but I've seen a lot of Batman slash Superman fights. I put it like that. But the favorite one was from the Dark Knight Returns. Was when the older version of Batman. First he said no more, and then he realized that he saw that Gotham was starting to get out of hand, and then he eventually came back into the spotlight to not to be seen, but to actually deal with Gotham, control Gotham, to get Gotham back on track. But he started going out of whack and started killing and doing other stuff like that. But this version of Batman actually kills, and he doesn't mind killing. With this particular version, but Superman was sent by the government to put a stop to Batman because they didn't like the way he did things. But people did start to respect the way Batman handled things, and because he did what needed to be done to get Gotham back in check. It'd be interesting to see how he feel about Red Hood. But anyway. But this fight, Batman outsmarted Superman because we know he can't physically, and then he takes advantage of Superman's the fact that Superman holds back when he fights. Batman takes advantage of that. Every fight I've seen him do that. Only fight where he didn't really have a whole lot of, was the New 52 Batman versus Superman. I'll pull that up in another video. But this fight here was one of my favorite because it was a lot of the way Batman handled Superman, the way he was able to hold his own against Superman, even the older version. This Batman, I'm surprised. I would love to see how this Bruce was when he was younger. If he managed to do all this when he was older, I would love to see how a younger version of this Bruce Wayne would fight fight Superman, because he'd probably be a lot more agile, a lot faster. Still wouldn't compare to Superman's speed, but he'd still have a lot of his strength, and then a suit that enhances strength on top of that. Because this one he had strength enhancers, and because his body was already, he had dealt with he had to have that suit to hold his body together, basically, because his body was breaking down, and his heart was starting to give out on him. But this fight was pretty epic. That's why I always watched it. It's one of my favorite out of all the ones I like to see. But I'll talk about the Batman vs. Red Hood in another one. But this one was by far my favorite fight. It had a lot of. I didn't know who was going to win it, because the way it was set up, I didn't know who was going to win, because it's just the way it was put together, how good the fight was. I had no idea. I was on the edge, thinking maybe Superman might win it, Batman might win it, because it's kind of neck and neck. Even though Superman was in the mindset, he thought he was in full control. But even though he was holding back severely, especially when they fought, it was outside. When they was on the construction site, the way Batman used the construction equipment to knock Superman around, that stuff looked like it hurt it. He used a wrecking ball. He used all kind. He used what was they called? You frame up those construction buildings with the metal frame, and man, this stuff looked like it hurt it. Of course, it didn't do whole lot of damage to Superman. He was just stalling Superman. He wasn't really trying to kill him in this instance, because he had another trick up his sleeve, which was the kryptonite arrow. But the fight was still interesting to see, and it's crazy how Batman could plan all of that. He knocked him. He planned on being knocked around to the right spot, to the right. He planned everything down to the where he'd be where he'd be knocked around to. He planned those fights because the exact location, all that stuff. It takes some crazy planning. It takes crazy planning to get to that point, to where you have a strategically. He said, I would have held back. I took it easy on you. A different binding, a different, more time, more planning. I could have used a different chemical. I could use a different recipe to take you on out. I held back because I wanted you to remember the one that beat you. This was the most hardcore Batman I've seen. One of the most, this was one of the most hardcore Batmans I've seen. This is absolutely my favorite fight. Absolutely, he was absolutely astounding performance. His usage of bombs, his usage of his strength enhancing suit. This Batman's ridiculous, man. Like I said, that's why I say I'd like to see what a younger Bruce from this universe would do to a Superman. If he was younger and had all this strength, all this training, all this ability, what he would do to Superman. The fight was kind of short, but of course Batman came on top because he outsmarted him with the kryptonite. But that favorite line, I want you to remember in your days to come, I want you to remember the man that beat you. And that was the most hardcore line I've seen. But I'll pull up other fights in future. I can't show the fight for copyright reasons, but I can describe him. The one when he was fighting the quarter hours in his mansion. I'll pull it up in another video. But this is the fight. This was one of my favorite fights of all time. And if you hadn't seen it, yeah, you probably should have been seeing it. But I seen this years ago. I seen it was back in had to be back. When was this? It was way back in 2000. I was late when seeing it, but it was back in 2012 when I saw it. So yeah, and I was still late. So it's an older fight, but you should check it out. It should be on YouTube. Just type in Batman vs Superman, and it should come up. The Dark Knight Returns, one of my favorite movies. Older Bruce Wayne just kicking butt and taking names. But if y'all any other fights y'all want me to talk about, just put them up in the comments. Or if y'all let me know what y'all think about this fight. Think about this movie, and even the previous movie that came before it. This was the second version. It was the second Dark Knight Returns, because the first one he had to fight those mutants to take back control of Gotham. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. T Does Entertainment signing out.